Hallelujah. Good evening, everyone. All right, I have a couple of questions here already. So I'm just going to be throwing the question out so that, anyone can just take it and answer. The first question is, your wife cheated on you with the same person more than 5 times. Then she comes to you, she confesses and apologizes. Okay, number 1, how can you forgive and forget? And then number 2, how do you let go of the torment of the thought, because the thought keeps coming to you?
Okay, I think that they need what we call infidelity recovery counseling. It's not something that will just go away overnight. We need to find out why it happened, what kind of affair it was. We need to find out where it happened. Like there are a lot of things we need to find out. And then in terms of forgiveness, he will also have to have individual sessions, to help. I think that because it has happened so often, we really need to find out if it was we need to find out what kind of affair, to be honest, to know whether it was, they're actually in love. They think they're in love. Because that's the worst kind, the romantic affairs, that's the worst kind, the hardest to break away. Because what will happen, because she's been caught, if she's not really repentant, what will happen is that she will just become smarter, So we need to find out and then create accountability. And so it's counseling. It's not really something that we can just say, and then triggers. What he's talking about, those thoughts coming back, is actually, it's like trauma, really. If you go to war, if you've been to war and you've been around gunshots and everything, if you come back and somebody slams the door, it can trigger, so PTSD basically. It's the same thing. Infidelity is like that. So people that have been through infidelity suffer from PTSD as well. So he has to go through some counseling sessions, possibly some therapy sessions.
Let me say, up front from now, a lot of relationship questions are not probably going to be, you can't get, this is my question, this is the answer right here and now. Because of the complexity of marriage and relationships, there's going to be a lot of referral. You're going to have to see one of the pastors, see a counselor, but then you'll be directed on what to do as well. The next question. I got married to my husband in 2008 when he was in his late 40s and I was 21. We have 4 children now, but he's not doing well financially and hasn't been for a long time. He gets easily frustrated, and when he sees me, I guess she's doing well, and he counts it as disrespect and that I'm treating him in contempt. His words. What can I do to make him believe that having money isn't a show of disrespect to him? Pastor Kingsley, you want to do that?
No, Pastor wants to answer. You see, I avoid hard questions.
Coincidentally, yesterday, for those of them in the office, in church office, we dealt with that. How many of you are in the office and you're in this meeting today? How many of you in the office? Okay, I see 1, 2, 3. So you remember we dealt with this yesterday. It's just the difference is that the one we dealt with lost their job. Okay, so she's the one running the family. Now, if you find yourself where you have more finances than your husband, be grateful that God can use you to support the family. Don't forget what Pastor Mildred shared with us. We're one now. This is one. The idea of your, it's going to create deeper problems. But if it is ours, then it will really help. So thank God for the privilege that between this season, you are the one to be able to provide this. It's an investment for yourself and for your family. And then also be careful and handle it in such a way, if the person you're married to, is really, really like this, is delicate and it gets to them easily. Massage their ego a bit. Let them still feel that, look, they are really still important. You still need them, though you sponsor all these things, but you're still the head of this house. I'm your neck and your body, but you are the head of this house. And still let them know, and then encourage them. Your words, don't never put them down. Let them know they can fly. Their dreams can still come true. The job can still show up. Let them seek for help. Let them see somebody else. Let them go and see somebody else. And then, Oga, let's talk about you. If somebody is paying all the bills, you ought to show a little bit of gratitude. Okay? If somebody's paying all the bills that you should be paying, or like we say, modern families that should be shared according to your context, according to your context. If you have a context where the two of you have to bring money to run your own family, Oga, if she's the only one running it for some time, you should show a level of appreciation. Thank you for what you do. This period I've not had money, and then you've just gone ahead, paid school fees, paid house rent, even bought me shoes, bought me this. Thank you. What can I do without you? You are the best in the world. And since you don't have any work doing, as she goes, wash her cloth or go to the dry cleaner to bring her cloth back. Do the one you can do. You see, money, you don't have money, but you have time. You don't have money, but you have good words. You don't have money, but you have, it's your home. I hope that helps. You can add to that.
Oh, that's perfect, actually. And I just need the woman to understand it from the man's view. Men get their self-esteem from work, and most men have a savior mentality. From Ephesians 5, it says, husbands, love your wife the way Christ loved church, and he gave himself. So if a man is not having anything to give you, he really feels down. It's a big deal. It's like the same way when a woman maybe is not getting pregnant. She feels, she's the problem. So learn to understand from his point of view why he's struggling. So be sensitive to that, all right? Why he's struggling with his emotions. Once in a while, like Pastor said, you can even give him the money, let him administer it. Let him still feel in control. Let him still feel he's adding something, So just be patient with him. He will come out of it.
All right. So this question is for you, Pastor Kingsley. It says, Can you please help me explain the difference between loving someone and being in love with someone? Is there a difference, or do they mean the same thing?
It's just semantics. It's just about how people see it. They are practically the same thing. In fact, for you as a believer that has understanding, you need to know that love is more a decision than a feeling. So when people are talking like this, they're trying to demarcate the feelings and the decision. Love is a decision, even though it can involve a feeling, but love itself is not a feeling. It's like your car. Your car is not tires, even though your car has tires. Your car needs tires, but your car is not tires. Just rolling tire on the road is not a car. Do you understand? So when people are asking like this, what they are confused about is the decision of love. Love is a decision to be kind, to be nice, to be forgiving, to hold no wrong. Ephesians 13, 1 Corinthians 13 describes that. So, but being in love, what they are describing is that you also have the excitement along with it. All right, so that's what they're trying to describe. Both of them are important, but principally, you won't always feel like. There's nobody that always feels in love, but you can always act in love.
Great. Let's put our hands together. That's a great answer. Okay, Pastor Mildred, this is for you. It says, I'm 43 years old with 2 daughters that I delivered naturally. I am pressured to give birth to a baby boy. My husband does not like the idea of IVF. He would rather believe God for a baby boy naturally, or says then we do not need to have another child. My fears, number one, medically 43 years is not a good age to get pregnant. And number two, my husband said he's okay with the girls, but I'm thinking he might change his mind later. What do you advise?
Okay, I think that, so I don't know where the pressure is coming from. She says she feels pressured. So I don't know where the pressure is. Okay, that's part of the problem. I don't know where the pressure is coming from. But I believe that you guys are one, and this is the real family you have. If your husband has been a man, a man of his word, he hasn't given you any reason to doubt him, then I don't know why you want to put yourself at harm's way, in harm's way rather. You want to put yourself at risk going to get pregnant again. And there's no guarantee, that within the next, that's going to get pregnant anytime soon, or that it's going to be a boy, even though your husband says he can stand with it, and truly the word can work, but he doesn't even want. So you're just putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. I think sometimes it's also society. To be honest, when I had my first two girls, my husband too was of the opinion that he didn't want anyone else. He didn't want any, but God had already told me, that I was going to have a boy. He was going to be the youngest, and his name would be David. So I now said to him, I said, I know that there's one more, and we eventually had our child, but that he was very okay. In fact, he was okay with the first one. Was very okay. So sometimes women that put ourselves under pressure, we believe, maybe because of movies you've watched or stories you've been told or the society at large. But the truth is, these days, women do everything, female children do everything a male child does. So what are you looking for? So I think you should just relax. You've had that conversation with your husband. Everything we do is by faith anyway. Just be in faith that he's telling you the truth, that there's nothing wrong, and be at peace.
Okay, so what if the pressure is, you want to add something?
Ask a question that I'll add.
Yeah, what if the pressure is from the husband's family now, and they're really putting pressure?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying now. So it still has to be about what both of you agree, because it's still her husband that will face his family, not her.
That's if he's going to face his family.
But he says he doesn't want now, so obviously it sounds like he knows what he wants.
Yes,
so he has to be her shield. Yeah, because he's the one insisting he doesn't want. She even wants to go one more time, but he's saying no. So.
And then if you really want, I just think you should set your priorities or your motives right. There's nothing wrong in wanting a son. That's the truth. If you really want a son, you have to do it now the right way scripturally. From what you're sharing, you want to do this out of fear. And God doesn't honor fear. So you need to get your priorities right. Oh Lord, I just want a son. That's fine. God never says no. So, but you need to now build your faith. What you're doing is you're going to act out of fear of that your husband will change his mind. You see, your motive for this whole thing is wrong, because you need faith all through this journey. You first use faith to get your husband to be open to the idea. Then you use faith for the conception to even carry. Then you need faith for you to carry the baby and give birth. You need faith for it to be a boy. So it can be done. But the path you are on now is not the path. This one is out of insecurity and out of fear. God won't honor that. God has no business with that. God honors faith. See, without faith, it's impossible to please God. So if you want to do this, it's not impossible. Hallelujah. It's not impossible. I get it. You might just want a boy. So go and get your priorities right. Why do you want a boy? Go and get the priorities right. Say, Lord, I just want a boy. I want, there are two girls already. I want a boy. I want a variety. I want somebody that also carry my husband's name. Bible says bring your strong reasons. But you are operating out of fear and insecurity. That's not the way to go. Get your facts right scripturally and stand in faith. Sometimes you might not even do IVF. The way it is, since he doesn't want IVF, you can do normal doing. And he enter. You see, but when you are in faith, anything is possible. Yeah.
All right, let's put our hands together. Okay, and on a final note, this same question, 43 years is not an impossible age to have a child as well. Okay, the last question I have here, I don't know if there's any other question that's been sent. The last one, okay, it's a bit long, but says, first, I love my wife absolutely, and I'm forever grateful to God for the privilege of doing life with her. She's my good luck charm. I have always believed that the only partner I should have both in life and business should be my wife. During, when we were dating, I guess, we talked about our business ideas. Fast forward, after we got married, we started working together. And even though our business is growing, by the grace of God, it's not everything we imagined. We have completely different work ethics. I'm an intense, hands-on person. I work with plans, schedule, brainstorm, and I'm very result-oriented. But she's different. So she cares about results too. But I guess she's not bringing in the work to guarantee the results. That's where they're different from each other. So how can we build together better work ethics? How can they build better work ethics together?
We deal with this a lot in counseling. So there's something we developed. So I'll give you the summary of it. The summary is simply that the wife needs to treat her husband as her head, which is as her boss. You see, what happens when husband and wife is working is that the wife wants to, she's downshifting and upshifting during the work hours to husband, then to boss. So sometimes if you are my husband now, don't talk to me anyhow. So what you do, for you as a wife, see him as your boss. Then for you as husband, the challenge is that the husband is treating her like staff. So you husband see her as wife, you wife see him as boss. If you see him as your boss, there'll be less friction. The reason why you want to control him or sometimes argue with him is that you think he's your husband. There's no woman here that when you go to the office, you want to control your real boss. Because even if you say something you don't agree with, you know he's your oga. So you submit. So wife, see that man, don't see him as your husband during work hours. See him as your boss in the office. And you husband, don't see her as your staff. That's why you're shouting at her and insisting. See her as your wife. So you pet her and you wife obey him. It'll work if both of you do that.
Okay, I just wanted to add, so two things that I'm concerned about here, and this is why I really like to have background information and sit down with couples. Yes, it really helps. First of all, why must two of you work together? Now, I'm not against it, we work together, but I just want to know why. Sometimes it's an emotional decision, and we don't run business by emotions. So it may be okay for you not to work together in that capacity, number one. Number two, I also see a play of personalities here. Obviously, the man is choleric, very obviously. He's probably choleric and melancholy as well. Yes. So he's driven, he's detailed. What that means is that most likely he has married a phlegmatic and a sanguine. So that means that she will be laid back, she will be spontaneous, she will be playful, she wants the benefits without the work, she will be lazy, she will be self-preserving. Now you see, those two things will not work together because your work ethics will be terrible together. It may work in a marriage, but it may not work in the office. Now Pascal has given you how to make it work in the office, but I'm still wondering, is it compulsory for both of you to work together at that level? You may have to sit down and clearly define roles. You can give her maybe a part of the business that she can be good at, maybe PR, maybe, I don't know, something that will not ultimately affect the core running of the business, while you sit down with another team, a CEO or chairman or whatever, and run the organization properly. Let her get all the respect and the accolades and all that as your wife, and maybe as someone who started the business with you. But if you're really going to take it to the next level, you probably need to, open it up more to other people. Without it, try to make sure that it doesn't affect your marriage.
Yeah, that's good. Well, there was a second question, but I think that's very easy. Secondly, regarding our finances, we haven't been able to pay ourselves anything tangible yet, and it affects us a lot. Pay yourself, even if it's 5,000 naira a month. Pay yourself. You must, otherwise you're going to become discouraged, isn't it? Right. That's all we can take for today.